Hello everybody, it's banjo time and we're going to the key of A and an old Alabama tune from the Stripling Brothers. Wolves a-Howling. Charlie on the fiddle and Ira on the guitar. About 1929 or so they recorded this and it's a classic. I think you'll enjoy it a lot. And back then there were even more wolves a-howling, I think. So you may be howling after you learn this on the banjo because it's pretty fun and sounds great. So let's jump in there. Wolves a-Howling.
Oh.
Yeah, thanks, Aaron. I'll slide in there and we'll get into the three parts here. It's kind of got a nice structure to it. A little bit tricky maybe at first, but it's just the first part, three-part tune, and you get into A for the first part, B second part, and then C, and then you go back to B. So just keep in mind A, B, C, and B. And what we'll do is try to sneak in a little high variation on that B part. So you can do something different if you like. So we'll just take it part by part and piece it together and see if we can get all the wolves a-howling in the same tune there. So I'm tuned up to A, and of course some people like to take their G tuning and capo up, but if you do that, make sure you raise your fifth string up though from G to A. So the first part has got a nice, it's very drony on the fiddle, and we have our drones are like our tuning checkpoints. That's that third fret on the second string. So that's going to be our first little entry there, and our open second string to the first fret is going to be our first little entry point there. So hammer open second to the first fret and slide 2 to 3, and then we're going to work a little first string. So let's just do a little phrase there. 1, 2, 3, and again you get to do that again. So that's the first little phrase. Let me play the first couple of phrases. 1, 2, 3. So that's pretty easy there. We'll link two phrases together. We can kind of put the pieces of the puzzle together there. And it gets the same phrase again. Then we get to, and the fiddle is doing a little more flourishes. On the banjo you can do them. They do a little bit of more those kind of things. But I think in the banjo's case, we might leave that to the fiddle if the fiddler's doing it, and we might just do a little pull off from 2 open on the third, then the third string, drop thumb there, and 2. So a little less flourish, but it works really nice there. And you can do the flourishes too, so you can copy the fiddle if you like. We'll throw some of those in some of the parts there. So the first little phrases on the first part of Wolves a-Howling, it comes in on a pickup, so it's the fourth B. 1, 2, 3. That's the first phrase. Let's just do that a couple times there. We'll just break each part in kind of half, and we'll put them all together before we're done. So the first part, first half, so to speak, starting on the fourth beat. 1, 2, go. Slide. first part for the most part. And like I say, the fiddle may be a little more fluttery, but that's okay. So let's do that first part again. Pretty fun and not too bad. That little drop thumb is what I call a crossover lick. So we're getting the third string. I'm using my index, thumb on the fourth string, and you're getting the fourth fret on the fourth string. So it's a drop thumb. Then your index gets the fourth string again with the second fret and open. So it's right hand wise, index, thumb, index, index. And you can catch that thumb on the fifth string. So the first part one more time. And then the second part is played the most in the tune, so we want to get familiar with that and put a high variation in there. So one more time on the first part of Wolves of Howling. 1, 2, go. Slide, pull off, drop thumb, start again. The fiddle has something that's often a tricky spot for the banjo. The fiddle has a lower note. So it goes, bum, bada, bum. We have to kind of just get what we have. So it's going to be like this. The fiddle has a little lower, has a lower note we don't have. So we're just starting with the open string. And then we slide from 2 to 4 and get the third string and a brush. So we'll start with that first little phrase. This is the second part. 1, 2, 3, 4, slide, third, brush. When we get to work the third string a bunch here, we're going to do like a nice hammer from open 4. Well, that's a very fiddly lick. So open, third string, hammer to 4. Then you get the second fret and hammer from 2 to 4 and open. And then a nice concept in the banjo is just think about your single string notes sometimes as a brush, like a chord, but it's just one string. So it's just the rhythm's the same. So here's the first two measures of that second part. 1, 2, 3, low string, slide. Yeah, and a brush. And you get to do the same thing again, so a lot of repetition, but you're going to have a different answer phrase this time. So we start the same, slide, third string, and then we're going to go the hammer again, but this time it's so it's hammer and the pull off this time from 2 to open. And you're back to that 2 low. So let me just do those. That's half of the B part again. So here's the 4 measures there. 1, 2, second part. Fiddle phrase. Pull off this time. And go again. You repeated that phrase again, and then at the very end you get a nice little let's see here, you get a nice hammer from open third to second and the second string, and then I do an open pull off with my left hand. This is a tricky phrase in a way, but it sounds really good. You can do it different ways. I feel that pull off gets a nice punctuated phrase. So hammer, open 2, hit your second string with the index, right hand, pull off on the open first string. And the fiddle kind of keeps that soft stroke going, so you could wait or just pick it again. You could do that or and wait for it. And you're back to that same phrase. So let me do the whole second part one time. That's the B part, and you repeat that. So it's going to be, we'll get it, we repeat it enough because it, like say A, B, C, B. So you get a lot of B part in here. That's why we're going to do a high variation in a minute. So here's the second part. 1, 2, 3, go. Fiddle phrase. With the pull off. 2, open, start again. Here's. We'll do it again. Slide, third string, fiddle phrase. With the pull off. 2, open, starting again. Hammer. Great. We'll put that, and then, so we've done, say you've done that twice, you repeated the B part, and then the fun part, on the fiddle, they get into plucking the strings. We don't, it doesn't sound quite as good to do that on the banjo, but what we're doing, I think that emulates it and works really nice. You heard it as we did it. I'm going up here to the 12th fret, and it's really the halfway point for your strings on the banjo. And if you're not mashing the strings all the way to get a clear note, you're going to actually just touch lightly on the fret. If you haven't done this before, it's just called a natural harmonic. I'll just do it with my thumb. You'll hear it. You might try it just with your thumb picking the string. Just try it on all the strings. First string, you just barely, it's like you tap it very lightly as you pick it, and then take your finger off. You have to work a little bit to get a good ring. It's also called chimes, and you can understand why, chiming. So what we're going to do here, use our index finger, and we're going to try to, we're going to pick, we'll copy the pattern of the fiddle. They go low, high, high a few times. So I'm going to use the second and third string with a harmonic, just lightly let my finger on it, and then the first two strings. Right? Just try that right there, okay? So it's just the low, I'm doing 2 and 3 harmonic on 12, and it's right on top of the fret, and then the first two strings twice. And then we're back to the phrases of the first part. You know, a hammer and a little crossover lick. And we do the same phrase again. Low, high, high, you can think. Then you have that other phrase from the first part. We're going to do that again. Again, 2 and 3, the low, high, high. 2 highs. And the first phrase. And then the last time they mix it up on the fiddle, they go high, low, high. So it's 1 and 2 string wise, and then 2 and 3 and 1 and 2. So, and the same. So let's try that. That's the C part, and kind of fun. It sounds really beautiful with the fiddle there. And the Trippin brothers, you know, played this. They played this pretty fast sometimes on some of those recordings. So we're kind of breaking it down to a nice easy lope. But you might want to let the wolf. If wolves are howling and chasing you, you'd be going a faster pace probably. So keep that in mind. See what you want to be thinking of as you play this. So here's that C part. Again, it's low, high, high in the phrases of the first part. 1, 2, 3, go. Same thing. Other phrase. Pull off. And then high, low, high. And then you're back to the B part, which remember that slide third fiddle phrase. The pull off. Start again. So that's great. And then you do that and go back to the first part again. But let's go ahead and look at a high variation on that B part, which I think is pretty fun. There's a lot of ways, as we've discovered, if you've played the banjo for a while, you realize you can do the same notes in a lot of different ways, different strings, and on one string do a lot of notes, or two strings, or combinations of open strings with way down the neck notes. So this is going to be a little bit of that. I'm going to pick do the first string, then I'm going to go to the second string, and again, there's a lot of ways to do this. This is a way I thought might be fun and sound nice. Second string, I'm going from 5 to 7 as a hammer, and then go to the 8th fret on that second string, and then just do a brush, kind of I'm almost in tune. So first string, and then you're going from 5 to 7 hammer, and scoot on up to the 8th fret, and a brush. And I'm not using the first string, I'm just brushing 3 and 2 with the 5th string afterwards. And then I'm shifting my finger to second finger gets that 8th fret second string. And this is a technique where I'm going to pick the second string note, the 8th fret, right? And then my hammer, just from my finger there, what I think is a good thing to do is put your first finger down on the 7th fret. So when you scoot there and put your first finger down here, because what happens, we're going to get a pattern, hit the second string and do a hammer, just your left hand gets that. So we did open pull off. Now we're doing kind of a ghost hammer or whatever. There's a lot of terms, but so you pick that second string, this finger hammers, and then you get the first finger note and hammer back. So you kind of come back around, it's full circle. A little hard to get that, but I think it's worth working on that technique. So it's brush, right? And then you're going to do it again. And then we have I guess on I'll look at the tab to make sure I'm getting this right for you. You have a little flutter. What I put in a little bit of the fiddle flutter there. So you have we're doing a little 7/9 flutter, hammer pull off, 5th string, and then 2 open. So that's halfway of the B part, high variation. I'll do it again. Right? And let's say I think we have a fall off there, so let's check that and make sure. I think we're going to go down to that 9th fret, so on the 3rd string to get that note there. The same as the 2nd fret 1st string. So brush to there, then you're back to 1st string. Then you have the flutter, 5th string. Go again, the 1st phrase again. Then you're going to go back up to 12, 12, and you do a little roll just to your index. You just pick it twice and get strong enough so you can get a hammer. Right? Then you're going to go, your big finish here is just going to be back down to that same position you have, but you're going to do a 9 to 7 pull off. Okay? And again that. So up here, 2nd string. A little bit finagling, but it sounds really pretty. I think it'll be a nice little challenge for you. And it sounds great just to play it low too, but let me try to do the high variation similar to what I have in the tab that you have. You can look at and try. And feel free to just play along with the Strickland Brothers or Aaron Friedland and work it out different ways, you know, because I'm just giving you suggestions and you can take them or leave them, you know, but hopefully it'll give you some good ideas, get you in the ballpark, and you can watch the game of the Wolves of Howling. So here's the high variation one more time. 1, 2, 3, go. Repeat it. Something along that line, just get you in the ballpark. A lot of ways to finagle those notes there. So what I'll do is play the whole thing just one time through, you know, A, B, and then C, and back to B, and in there. Just so I hope you'll enjoy Wolves of Howling. Here it is one last time, and feel free to howl in the middle somewhere if you like. You know, it might surprise people, and let them not get too comfortable there, and keep them on the edge of their enjoyment seat. So here we go, Wolves of Howling from the Strickland Brothers on the banjo one more time. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's a pretty fun to play on the banjo. I hope you enjoy that, and hope you can get with the fiddler and do it that way too. Just play with Aaron's video if you like. But enjoy Wolves of Howling, and hope you get into some stuff that makes you howl for the fun of how much music is. So take care.